Lloyd's role. And the money came out of New Orleans. It was delivered to him in a vegetable box from one of the, actually not Liberto's warehouse, but another produce dealer. So that was Lloyd's story. In '78, when I first went into Memphis, I saw a man called Johnny McFerrin, one of the bravest men I've ever met. Johnny was a civil rights leader in Fayette County, black guy, still owns garage and a little store out in Somerville, Tennessee, in Fayette County, which is the most racist by far of any county in Tennessee. Johnny's been shot at, beaten up, bones broken, hospitalized more times, attempted to be poisoned, and you can imagine. Not just because of the King case, but because he led voting rights demonstrations and registration drives in Fayette County for black people. When I went to see Johnny McFerrin, he agreed to see me because Reverend James Lawson asked him to talk to me. And Lawson was Martin's best friend in Memphis. I met him, the night I met him, his windows had been shot out in his garage, and he had this duct tape. He taped them up again. And we met in the back room of his garage with the lights out, and we sat about in chairs like this, about 6-8 feet apart, and he sat with a rifle between his legs the whole time. Other times when we continued the meetings, he insisted on meeting in a moving car. Wouldn't stay still in any one place. John told this story. On the day of the killing, he was in Frank Liberto's warehouse, produce place, getting produce items for his store, and pulling them off the shelf as he always did, and he'd go and he'd pay for them on the way out. He helped himself. And as he was pulling these various items off and filling his basket, he heard Liberto on the telephone. And Liberto was speaking in a very loud and angry voice, so we could hear him clearly, and he heard him say, "Shoot the son of a bitch when he comes on the balcony. And don't bring your ass around here and get down in New Orleans and pick up the rest of your money from my brother." Now, John knew Liberto was mob connected, so he thought it was something to do with him. It was only an hour later when he got back up to Somerville and he heard about Martin King being shot on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel that he realized what he had heard. So he eventually was convinced a few days later to tell his story to the Memphis Police Department detectives and the FBI, and they tried continually to break his story, change his story, and they couldn't. And he stuck with it from that day to this, and this is what he heard, and this is what he said. And I had heard that early on in '78. So years later, after the television trial, when Jowers was